Well, first, Merry Christmas to everybody. What we were finally able to accomplish, and I have to thank the leadership of my colleagues in Florida, Representative Greg Stubbe, who represents the district just north of mine in Charlotte County. He was impacted by Hurricane Ian just like I was, and Senator Rick Scott. Both those two gentlemen, myself included, I mean, we worked tirelessly to make sure that we could deliver this much-needed tax reform for people trying to rebuild after natural disaster. But it's not just Florida focused. It was nationwide focus. If you have experienced a natural disaster in your community, you now have the ability to deduct the costs of your rehabilitations, of your rebuilds off of your taxes. And that's just important relief to give to people trying to get back on their feet after experiencing a natural disaster. We were finally able to get that accomplished. I want to thank the members of the House and our colleagues in the Senate who came together to support that piece of legislation. We actually did something meaningful for the American people.
Yeah, I also love to see bipartisan moment because disasters impact everyone across the political aisle. We saw it recently with Hurricanes Helene and Milton. And there was some politics at play when it came to FEMA relief, right? The reports that some homes did not receive the attention that they rightly deserved because of a Trump sign in their front lawn. Obviously, the incoming Trump administration looking into this and hopefully clearing it up. There have been some reporting, though, that the person tasked to lead FEMA could be Florida Democratic Congressman Jared Moskowitz, reportedly the contender to lead FEMA. We spoke with Corey Lewandowski earlier on in the show. He said this was rumors. He hadn't heard it himself. But what do you think about this appointment, Congressman? You see it happening?
Well, look, I know Jared Moskowitz and I, we've not only served together here in Washington, but actually in the state legislature. Jared was the director of emergency management under Governor Ron DeSantis. And, you know, in that role, it wasn't about partisanship. It was about responding to the emergency needs of the people of Florida at the time. And so I think Jared would be able to do that job. I know there's probably some other contenders in that race, but we'll see what actually ends up. Until you hear from President Trump, nothing is official. But I've seen Jared do that work for Florida. And I don't see any reason why he couldn't do it for America.
Potential political maneuvering as well, opening that seat up again in what could be yet another Republican pickup. We'll watch for that. President-elect Donald Trump reacting to President Biden selling off unused parts of the border wall. We were just having this discussion. Want to play that for you and then get your reaction.
The administration is trying to sell it for 5 cents on the dollar, knowing that we're getting ready to put it up. And what they're doing is really an act. It's almost a criminal act. People have already come back to us that have deals at 5 cents and 4 cents, and one guy at 3 cents on the dollar, and they offered to sell it back to us at more money than it cost us to build substantially. Can you believe it? So they make a deal with the United States to buy it for pennies. And then they call us and they say, do you want to buy it back? We'll sell it back to you for hundreds of dollars a foot.
It's also been reported that a lot of the material that's out there has been sitting outside for years. It's been damaged. But he also has this candid approach to this conversation. Really what Americans experience buying something today costs more than it did 4 years ago. And he's kind of alludes to the same thing with buying the material for a border wall. Your reaction there to Trump's comments and, again, criticism of this current administration?
Well, President Trump is right to be critical of President Biden and the outgoing administration. First of all, they created the border disaster. We all know that. The American people know that. Secondly, the material's been sitting on the ground for 4 years because the radical left Democrats didn't want to do the simple thing of securing our border. And let this sink in for the American people. This demonstrates how radical the Democrats still are when it comes to border security, in spite of the fact of the overwhelming victory of President Trump, the political mandate given to President Trump, that you have radical Democrats who still live in a world where it is A-OK for our nation to be inundated by massive illegal immigration. The American people need to remember this moment. It sounds like a little cute story, but it is not. It demonstrates how ridiculous and out of touch the Democrats are when it comes to securing this nation and actually making sure we have appropriate legal immigration that actually helps to maintain our cities and our states and maintain safety for everybody.
Information, truth, is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.